Hey everybody, JJ here, back again with another Wednesday of Zoom networking. We have an absolutely fantastic guest speaker for you today. This woman is sharp. She is on it. She was introduced to me as someone who's sharp as nails, explosive like dynamite. You don't want to mess with this woman. She's the sharpest property manager that you're ever going to see. And I've found this definition to be factual. She does a phenomenal job. She's managing my property in Cleveland right now. I'd like to introduce you to our guest speaker and my good friend Shonda Holcomb. Shonda, how are you?
Great, JJ. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Good to see you.
Same here.
So let me ask you, for those that don't know you, where in the country are you located?
I am, we're based out of Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm born and raised in Cleveland, so I know the city.
Go Browns.
Oh, go Browns for sure. Cavs too.
There you go.
I'm
Well,
not doing so hot right now, but they'll get there.
I wish we would have known one another when I first got the house. I actually flew out to Cleveland for an Indians game. They were still the Indians.
Yes.
But we'll be back out to see the Guardians play. We can all go together for a dog and a burger,
Yep. Come on out.
beer and a Coke.
hmm
So, your topic today is why property management, dealing
Yes.
with tenants, which is the main thing.
hmm
Um, we'll talk about how to get in touch with you at the end of the call, but right off the bat, what's the name of your company? How do you guys engage with prospective landlords to handle their properties? What's the name of your company?
The name of our company is High Tech Property Management, and we came up with that name because we wanted to use technology to help us grow. And everything we do is online. We don't do paper anything. So we utilize technology and we try to stay on top of it to help us give the best service we can at all times.
I could just say you've done a fantastic job for me.
Thank you.
I've been to Cleveland once, but I know that my property there is well taken care of. And we have an issue as we all do with tenants, but we just come right back and get back on our horse. And I think the best thing for me as a landlord is having the comfort and confidence that I've got the right person there handling my property. Um, why should people, obviously people live in a particular town, it's easier to self-manage. I'm doing some self-management here in LA. I think I'd
Mhm.
probably like to get some of that off my hands. Why should people use a property management firm versus dealing with this themselves?
There's actually quite a few reasons why I feel that a management company is better than self-managing. I've been a landlord myself since 2004. I grew up with my parents owning rental properties. So, growing up, I think every cousin and aunt and uncle I had lived in one of my parents' rental properties. So I learned a lot from my parents having them as I was growing up. Friends and family, I hate to say it, are the first ones that are going to take advantage of you. Oh, this and that happened. I can't pay my rent this month. Well, I'll catch up with you next month. So having a third party person in place who keeps it professional and who keeps it black and white business is much needed in this industry when you're dealing with people every day. It's easy to get sucked in and have a big heart and, I'll let it slide this month, I'll let it slide. And then before you know it, it's 6 months and you haven't collected a dime.
I noticed that when I first bought my property, the wholesaler that introduced me to the property in Cleveland
Mhm.
had an arrangement with another property management firm there. And I'm not going to mention this guy's name, but he was just the worst individual I could possibly imagine walking the face of the earth.
Yes.
And he didn't care about me. Um, didn't care to even get connected. It was just so crazy. What do people want to look for when they're looking for a property management company? What be besides experience? What are we looking for?
You want to, in my opinion, you want someone who is accessible. All of our property clients, all of our property owners have my personal cell phone number. You don't have to call into the office. You don't have to leave a voicemail. You don't have to send an email and wait. If it's something you need a response to, call me, shoot me a text, and I'll respond. Um, when we started the company, I said, if I'm going to do this, I want it to be a company that I would utilize myself as a property owner. So I kind of live by that. I look for property owners that want to create a team atmosphere. So, I'm always working in your best interest. I want our property owners to be so happy with the management that they're getting on that property and how the bottom line's looking that they're going to want to buy another property. Because as their portfolios grow, I just naturally grow my business with them.
There you go.
I'm always working for a team atmosphere.
Now, what are some of the basic things, roles, activities, responsibilities? What are some of the basic ones that a property management company does, and what are some that might be unusual or things that a landlord might not expect or are unaware of that a property management company might cover for them?
Well, there's a handful of things that property management companies should do on a day to day. Fill vacancies, rent collection, maintenance. Those are like your three standards that they need to be doing well. If they're going to do it, you need to do it well. Along with that, we have financial reporting. We have staying on top of, well, for financial reporting, and I was very guilty about this when I owned and self-managed. I would do repairs on the property and say, oh, I have to write that down. I have to keep track of that. Come tax time, I was a complete mess. I'm pulling receipts and going through my emails and looking for everything that I spent on that property. Whereas with a property management company, there's a monthly report that goes out that gives you the money coming in, the money going out, and all you have to do is hand that to your accountant. And it's nice and easy. So all that finance part's taken care of. So the financial reporting, we have to stay on top of housing laws. Um, City of Cleveland is forever changing their ordinances and tweaking their housing laws. And so we have to stay on top of that. Luckily, Cleveland is still doing first cause evictions via Zoom. So what I do is even once my cases are heard, I keep the Zoom live while I'm working so I can hear the other cases. I used to do it when it was in person. There's times if I was in downtown going to the building department, I would just jump over to the housing department as well so I could sit and listen to the evictions because I learn a lot of things of what not to do by the mistakes of other landlords and property managers. So, and it's nice when the judges see me and they just give me a little nod because they recognize me. I have a good rapport with them. So that's essential as well. And then just staying on top of ordinances as far as like building code. Building codes change all the time. What was allowed last year may not be allowed this year. You may get a fine for it. The city of Cleveland is really cracking down on trash. So the trash people, the building inspectors literally are driving up and down. If you don't take your trash cans in by 7:30 p.m. that night, they're giving you a ticket. And it's $100 ticket.
Wow.
So things like that. And once I realized that that was going on, I sent a notice out to all of our tenants. In order to avoid getting a $100 fine, here's what you need to do. So trying to stay on top of that. We also try to stay in contact with the local council people. So as they're driving around and they see a problem house, I want them to know, like, if any of our properties are ever a situation house where grass isn't being cut or something, I get phone calls directly from council reps a lot of times, like, hey, I drove by the house over on Astor Avenue. Grass is looking a little tall. I'll contact the tenant immediately and say, you need to go out and cut the grass to avoid a fine. So just staying on top of the properties and being present, letting the tenants know that you're not just there to collect rent. You're actually like part of their situation. They need to be in contact with us at all times. Hi.
Hi, great to meet you. This is
Yes.
actually like a perfect. Actually, I wanted to get on JJ's next Zoom, but it just happened to be that you actually have something like you're also the speaker was amazing and had something that I really do need. Do you guys do short-term rentals as well, or is it just a long-term thing? And sorry if I missed it because I was on the phone with the seller for a second.
No, we haven't touched base on that. I, at this point, am only doing midterm and long term.
Okay, midterm. So I have a furnished finder. So is
Yeah.
that so it is midterm and I just got
Mhm.
my first, thank God. It took me a long time to get these set up with the furnishings and everything perfect. And I finally got my first tenant in Jacksonville on and they want to check in on 7/7. And I'm just thinking to myself of all the things that could, because it's a brand new house, we put everything we think we needed in it, and we went through the checklist, one by one, and we provided everything, but you just never know, you just never know what's going to come up. So do you do those things? Like, it's a month, and she wants to be able to, her husband's an underwater welder, which is super exciting. That's sort of interesting. So she
Mhm.
wants a month, and then she wants to be able to extend a month with a 2 week notice. And I said that would be fine. So it seems like she might be there a little while. Is that something you would deal with? And then, like, would you deal with like the little, hey, I need more time? I mean, that's not even possible because we've got so much stuff in there, but like the little stuff, you know what I mean? Like, do you guys deal with that and then have like resources in every place?
When I said midterm, we do 3 months or more.
Got
So
you.
in this area, Furnish Finder, we do a lot of like short-term, midterm rentals for nursing. Um, so they'll do 3 month contracts.
Got you.
I don't do the monthly or the Airbnbs anymore because I had them myself and they're just so time consuming.
I believe it. I believe it. I completely understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Well,
like a 3 month
yes, I
minimum.
do 3 month and more.
Okay.
We also have a lot of insurance agencies that will contact me if they have a client who, a tree fell on their house and they have to do work, or if something caught fire and they need to place those people. I want to say 7 of them now that will reach out to me and ask if we have any available properties in those neighborhoods where they can put their tenants or their clients in. Usually that's a minimum of 6 months, and then will extend. And they pay a nice premium for a six
So
month.
I know, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to get in with them. So
Yeah.
then my next question would be, um, like, could I pay you for that kind of referral if somebody does say, hey, I want to be in this Jacksonville area? Like, how do you work that?
Well, yes, I mean, we could do referrals, but I'm not in the Jacksonville area right now.
Oh, okay, okay,
So,
okay.
yes.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I'm primarily in North Ohio
Oh,
area,
okay.
some Southern, and then a little bit in Florida.
Got you.
We're
Okay.
trying to
Okay.
expand Florida.
Sure. Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's all Florida for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we're
That's good to
down
know.
by Fort Myers, Cape Coral in Florida.
Okay. We
Yeah.
have a couple more we're trying to pick up down there, so I will definitely let you know.
Mhm. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, no worries.
Troy Caudell, you are on with Shonda Holcomb with your question.
I just had a curiosity question. What is the wildest situation that you've come across as a property manager, and how did you resolve it?
Oh, whew. I could write a book. Okay, there's quite a few that come to mind, but one, I had a tenant in a duplex. The upstairs tenant had complained that he suddenly kept seeing flies. And well, we had no idea. There'd never been an issue of flies in this property. Like, it had new vinyl windows. It's not like there were, gaps where the flies could be coming in. So the downstairs tenant, I posted a notice, and I'm like, well, in my opinion, there's something going on downstairs or in the basement that's attracting flies. Is there a dead mouse somewhere? Is there something going on? So we posted notices to do a full property inspection. The downstairs tenant called and said, I'm sick. Please don't come in today. Like, you can come in next week. I'm really sick. And me being me, I said, well, I'll wear a mask. I'm still coming in. So went there, knocked on the doors. She wouldn't answer the doors. So I had my contractor run and grab the keys for me, come back. Oh, I pounded on the door and I said, property management. And when I opened that door, I was in complete shock. There was trash, literally like my nose high throughout the property. There wasn't even a pathway as I walked in. The tenant lived there 6 months. Um, so when I literally like was filled with rage. I got a hold of the wall. I started walking over top of all this trash. So I made my way into the dining room because that was the living room, made my way into the dining room, made my way into the kitchen as she's walking out the back door of this house. So I'm chasing her outside essentially. And I'm like, blah, 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 what the hell is going on in here? I'm like, this is not how we gave you the property. The property was completely rehabbed. And she's like, my mental state's just not in a good condition. The upstairs neighbor, like, he plays music and I don't like the music he plays. It's messing with my mind. And I'm like, and what does that have to do with the trash that you're accumulating? It was pizza boxes, it was beer containers, it was fast food containers, it was anything and everything. It wasn't like she was a hoarder with newspapers. It was literally trash, and she was living in it. I gave her 4 days to have it cleared up before I called VA and reported her because she was receiving VA benefits. So I told her I would call the health department and her VA counselor if it wasn't cleaned up in 4 days. Somehow she had it cleared up in 4 days. So that was one of the wildest things, that someone could accumulate that much trash in a matter of like less than 6 months.
So is she still in there?
Yes, she is still in there. She gets more regular inspections than most tenants, but she is still in there and paying on time and no problems.
Okay, interesting.
That's good to hear a happy ending sort of in that situation.
Yeah, I'm not super fast to evict someone because it's going to cost the homeowner money. So I try to find ways to solve the situation if someone's delinquent on rent. And if they've been a good tenant paying on time and things, and then suddenly they're running behind on rent. And if I, talk to them and they tell me that they were sick and missed work, or car accident and missed work, I'll reach out to local churches and things like that to see if I can get them assistance, because it's helping the tenant, it's avoiding a vacancy for the homeowner, and it's cutting down on work for all of us. I mean, yes, I make money for doing evictions. Yes, I make money on tenant turnovers, but it's costing my client money and it's putting more work on my plate. It's not a win-win situation when I just automatically evict someone. So I try to set the ground rules. I let that woman know, like, this is what I expect. I want pictures of you taking your trash can to the curb every week. And she did that for a good 3-4 months. So I knew she was back on track the way she needed to be. And she's been a great tenant since. It's just we do the inspections to make sure she stays on top of it.
There you go. That answer your question, Troy.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Definitely.
my friend. Good to see you. The magnificent Meg Webker. Meg, you're on with Shonda. What's your question?
Hey, yeah. So I have a couple of things. Yeah, I don't have the best luck with property management as I sit in Dirty Dodge, Iowa, and I've rotated through different property management companies as we only have like 4, down to 3, I think now.
Oh,
So I hired somebody remote, but even the ones in town, I've had a tenant, I guess they didn't mow for a while, and I lucked out on finding out, like, because I'm, wasn't here, I was working, and they got a notice on their door, but they didn't notice it until like the day of that the city said they would come over and mow. And then, of course, that would have been tacked onto my property taxes. So then I sent somebody over there to mow. And of course, that person mowed the wrong lawn. And they said that was the tallest yard in the neighborhood. I was like, did the city already come and mow the yard? And then come to find, I'm like, how am I supposed to find out? Because the tenants weren't responding or anything. And I'm like, I hope to God. And then apparently, I found out from my property management company, the city of Fort Dodge only notifies you once.
mm-hmm.
Your tenant, not you, your tenant once. They put a notice on the door so that if it happens again, they won't warn you if they're going to go and mow it. And they'll tack it on your property taxes, and you won't find out until your property tax charge.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, so that's the stupid rules we have here in Fort Dodge, for one. Learning that, I'm like, I don't know how else you find out. You have to do your research, I guess, in the city. Like, hey, what if this happens? Do you tack it on it? How do you guys handle that? So learning a lot. You just have to be on top of it and hope that, you just got to keep on top of it. Anyways, and then trailer parks. Do you do trailer parks? Okay, so I'm thinking about going in-house on that. Right now I have a remote, and somebody offered to actually in town to manage it because she's also an entrepreneur and she has properties herself, and she actually volunteered to manage it because my manager, she's remote. And sorry, my cat's trying to get in the way. Cat, stop it. But so I have the cheapest rent in Iowa, 210, or probably in the nation, I don't know, 210 lot rent. These guys own their own homes and whatnot. And I've tried raising rent again this year, just a little bit. I raised it from 190 when I took it over 2 years ago, and they just complained. One of them moved out. It's a 10 lot. I'm down to like 5 people now. It's crazy. But I guess today one of them just called about a tree. They're worried about a tree, and we're trying to figure out if that tree is actually in their property or the empty property next to them. They're complaining about it laying over their house, that it's dangerous. How do you handle that part? Like, it's like, is it up to me to handle that tree? Or, like, I hear in Fort Dodge, a lot of people have trees hanging over their house, but you don't, you know,
Is the tree, when you said it's on the neighbors, is it still within your trailer park? Or is it next
it's
to?
on another. I think we're trying to figure out, because there's no lines there. We're trying to figure out if it's the next lot over or
Mhm.
not. So that's what we're happening and dealing with right now.
Here in Cleveland, it doesn't matter whose tree it is. If it falls and lands on your property, you have to, like, I have a client who literally just paid $1,800 because the house behind them had this huge pine tree. And storms that came through last week, we had 11 trees that fell. So on that one, it was in the yard behind us and it landed and it came about 3 feet from hitting the house, the tip of the. So luckily, it had a nice big backyard to it, but the city of Lyndhurst dictated that it's in your yard now, you have to pay to clean it. So it cost my property owner $1,800 to have that tree removed and get the yard cleaned back up. And now I'm actually fighting with the city of Lyndhurst as of yesterday because they said, well, you didn't remove the tree stump. We want it ground down and removed. I'm like, in our property, and I'm not letting my client incur that cost. So I went out there and I took photos. I stood on the side of the property line. I took photos, emailed them over to the city. I copied my client. My clients are in Australia, so I copied them on the email. And I'm like, look, it's bad enough they had to incur $1,800 to get this removed, and they gave 2 days to get it removed. But we're not incurring any other fees with this. You know, I'm now battling with the city of Lyndhurst and the building department there because
also
it's not fair what they're doing.
Shonda, it
no.
seems to me that if that tree, I'll just use the word originated on the other property, that I would not have the right to go onto my neighbor's property. That's on their property, so they should be
Exactly.
responsible for the tree stump.
Yes.
It's their
Exactly.
tree stump.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's what I
Yeah.
said to the city. I said, if you want the tree stump removed, I suggest you talk to the people at blah, 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 blah address.
The 123
Because
Main
our
Street.
clients,
Yeah.
because our clients
Also,
have paid enough.
I'm dealing with the city on there's one of my tenants who's not paying any bills right now. Me, rent, they're not paying, it's only $210 a month, but they're not paying that. They're not paying their water, they're not paying their electric. They just now, yesterday, I guess, or this morning, they paid their water from May. So now that gives them a 10-day grace period. But they call me, like the water department called me last Monday. I answered. They said, hey, we're going to stick this on you because they're not paying and we'd have to have you shut off their water. I'd have to go and crawl under their trailer to shut it off. I'm like, let me look into this. And I found on ChatGPT Iowa Code 384.84 utility liens and landlord protection, that I'm protected, and they're trying to still say that it's on me. I have to go hire a plumber and go shut it off. Otherwise, they're going to shut off the whole park. That's what they would have to do. And they were like, we don't want to do that. We don't have to shut off the whole park, but we're going to have to, otherwise, we're going to put the utilities on you if that's the case. And I'm like, okay, I will contact my lawyer on this. I'm trying to work with you guys, but I shouldn't have to pay for a plumber to do that because I can get in trouble. And so they're like, well, we'll talk to our lawyer. I'm like, okay, you do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you, as the owner of you own the land essentially. You don't own their trailers. So
No.
I don't think you should be touching anything with their trailer. If the water department wants it turned off, that should be them turning it off.
Yeah.
And putting a tag on it or something. But I would definitely, if you have a local attorney, real estate attorney, make sure it's a real estate attorney and not just, like an eviction attorney. There's a huge difference. Like divorce attorneys are great for divorces. Real estate attorneys are the ones that you need.
Yeah. Okay.
So
and I was
I would
otherwise going to
recommend
have, like you said, churches or something. And somebody said call DHS because they have 5 kids. And I'm like, well, I don't want them to get kicked out, but maybe to help them. I don't know at this point, if they're not able to pay electric or rent, or whatever. I mean, like maybe DHS can help assist them.
Yes, you could. I agree with you. Like I've literally only called child services on one family out of the 10 years I've been doing this. And it's just because the conditions were horrible when I walked into the property. So I saw needles, I saw things laying around that children, like the child's mattress was on the floor. They didn't even have a bed. Like there's certain things that children should never, oh, and holes punched in the wall. This was a
Mm,
property that I was taking over managing. There's certain things that children should never be exposed to,
Yeah.
yeah.
and things like that's one of them. So I did let, and I was very upfront. I told the tenants, I said, I'm taking over management of this property. I have great concerns about it. I will be notifying child services just so you're aware of the current condition of the property. And I took lots of photos. I said, I'm going to reach out to them in the morning, have a discussion with them, and then we will be back to have another meeting with you. And luckily they got their crap together and got their lives together, but sometimes they just need that tough love. So check with Red Cross is really good. They help a lot of families, Catholic charities, any of the local churches. A lot of times they have funds and they're able to help people that are willing to help themselves too. I never want to have people that are just taking advantage of the situation. I actually have a tenant right now that I filed an eviction on. Um, she is she's a user. She finds any and every excuse to get people to pay her rent for her. And she slipped, and the one agency that was supposed to pay her rent for her contacted me and asked if she'd ever had any assistance in the last 6 months. I was very honest. I said, yes, she had assistance from this company, this agency. And they said, oh, well, this seems to be a pattern. And I said, I'm just answering your questions. And they decided they weren't going to help her. And so, yes, so we'll be filing an eviction on her because she's just using the system and taking advantage of my client's kindness. He's the one who initially said, don't evict her. She has two small boys, like they're like 9 and 11 or something. And he's like, give her some time to get caught up. And then this pattern started where every month someone different was paying her rent. But every time I call her, oh, I can't talk, I'm at work. I can't talk, I'm at work. She has a new Cadillac SUV in her driveway.
Mm, wow.
So yeah,
Hmm.
reach out to agencies, and I would definitely recommend talking to a local attorney about that water situation because you shouldn't be held liable for that.
Yep. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Zach Russell. Zach, you're on with Shonda Holcomb. What is your question?
Hey, how's it going? I just had a quick
Okay.
question. I'm new to real estate investing and sub two, and everyone's big into co-living. What is your take on managing co-living, especially with pad split?
I'm not a fan of co-living. Like, when you say co-living, you mean like where they're renting rooms basically and sharing the common space. I'm not a fan because, and I even have like friends that will rent together. I just had a discussion this morning with someone who said, well, I paid my part of the rent. So and so said he's not going to have it for a while. And I said, well, just so you know, you're both signed a legal contract. I don't care who pays the rent, but it needs paid on time or we will be evicting both. Like, so, and I did have some student housing that I did early on, and it was the same situation. You know, the furniture got damaged, everyone blamed someone else. I'm just not a big fan of it.
Okay.
I like the traditional 12 months, you bring your own furniture. I have property owners, especially like my higher end clients, that want to leave their properties fully furnished because they love their furniture and, oh, I spent $12,000 on this sofa and I don't want to put it in storage. Well, you do know that a family is probably going to move in with kids and popsicles or something, or, someone's red wine they may get a little too tipsy. So I never recommend leaving furniture unless you don't really care about that furniture. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the shared living spaces like that. Just too many issues that can pop up, and then you have to blame all of them and hold them all accountable for it, and it turns sour most times in my experiences.
Yeah, the pad split co-living thing, you know, I guess there's one person that rents the house and then they rent the rooms.
Well, it depends. There's
Uh,
different formats that you can do.
yeah, pad split. A lot of them are going in. They'll take like a 4 bedroom house. They'll split the living room into 2 more bedrooms, so it'll turn it into a 6 bedroom house. So the only shared area is the kitchen.
Mhm.
And then pad split is essentially like Airbnb, but for short-term rental for they rent per room and they pay per week. So
Yeah.
it's something that like everyone's getting into because they can charge per week and they charge a massive premium, but it works out for everyone because they can actually afford to pay the house and they don't want to maybe pay for an entire house for themselves. They're like usually young people or they can't afford the full rent payment, and it works out great for everyone.
Yeah, we've had that in Cleveland for a while, and I've just ran into too many problems with it. Like I said, for me, because I take protecting the owner's investment very seriously, when an owner is giving fully furnished and then they're destroying the furniture and blaming everyone but themselves, I just don't like the liability that goes along with that.
Yeah, I agree, Shonda. You know, this the liability is crazy. We've got some places in my neighborhood where they're doing, you know, things that a house burnt to the ground. I guess someone was taking care of a room or something, and everybody had to go. Now they're rebuilding the house twice twice as big with twice as many rooms.
Hmm.
You know, which looks crazy. But yeah, you know, there are all sorts of situations that we face as landlords, and
Hmm.
we just, you know, ideally have a good property management company. Troy Caudell, you're on with Shonda. What's your question?
Yeah, I just had a real quick question.
Hmm.
Say I've heard a lot of good reasons, but what's something most property owners don't consider when managing their own properties?
The For one, the liability, um, being on top of all the laws, making sure that you're up to code on all city ordinances, because I'm based out of Cleveland, I'm using Cleveland as a reference. Um, Cleveland initiated something called a lead certification back at the beginning of 2020, where all properties needed to be lead certified. But then we had this crazy thing called COVID that hit. So they kind of put it on the back burner. And then 2022, they're like, oh, we're going to make this, mandatory again. They didn't have the software, they didn't have the manpower to take care of this and actually make it full blown, but they were still holding property owners accountable. And it was only investment properties, it's not owner occupied properties. So they don't care if a property owner gets lead poisoning and poisons their children. It's only an investor who can't, subject children to lead poisoning somehow. But so like that. But then without any notice, they changed that last year. Now for your lead certification, you also have to provide copies that you've paid your tax bills on time. You have to provide proof that any utilities that the owner is responsible for, like water and sewer. You have to provide proof that those bills are paid on time. And you have to do if you have a 4 unit or more, you have to have the HVAC certified every year. Without doing all of that, they won't issue your rental certification now. So a normal property owner typically does not know that. Like I just signed on 2 clients yesterday. They had no idea that they're renting these properties without lead certifications, without rental certifications, or anything. They just thought that they bought this house and they could rent it out. Their
Yeah.
real estate agent did not even know about the rental certification in Cleveland, and she considered herself a guru. Like she has a group where people can pay to learn how to do real estate. And when I asked her, I said, so and so said that you were their agent actually in helping them buy this property. Do you know if it was certified lead safe? Do you know if it has a rental certification? She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you're selling in the city of Cleveland and you don't even know about these two major ordinances? And she said, well, he has Section 8 tenants. They don't care. And I said, well, yes, Section 8 doesn't care because it's a federal program. they'll let you put tenants in there, but city and state ordinances still apply. So she thought just because she specialized in Section 8 properties that she had to follow Section 8 guidelines. She didn't know about all these other ones.
There you go.
Yeah. She's a
Perfect.
licensed real estate agent and has been for probably 10 years based on the number she has. So, yeah.
Sevlin, you're on with Shonda. What's your question?
Oh boy, I just when you were talking about the thing with lead and all the things. So I'm a teacher. That's my thing. I'm thinking, how do you educate folks who don't have that background? How can you educate them so that they'll know all these nuances you have to do, and you need them to help you with those things? What do you have a process?
I have SOPs for everything. When I got out of college, I went to work at Key Trust, and I helped them revamp their corporate trust division for stock exchanges. Every person in that had a different position. So I established these SOPs, and we had a book like this thick. So same thing in my company now. We have SOPs for everything. So when we're onboarding new clients, there's the checklist that I'm going through, like, have you had a rental certification? Have you had the property inspected? Different like suburbs require interior inspections and exterior. So when was the last time the property was inspected by the city? So we kind of go through that, and then I don't leave it up to the property owner to have to do it. I help as much as possible. Like, we have lead certification companies that we use that will go out, and when I'm bringing on new vendors, I always try to find ones that understand the team atmosphere that I'm creating. So like our lead certification company, when they go out to check a property, for the lead certification, there's a visual portion and then a sample portion. They have to go through and take swabs of the window seals. They have to take swabs of the door hinges, the floors in front of there's, I think, 17 points that they have to take swabs. And then on the visual part, if they see a window ledge that has multiple layers of paint where maybe the paint was chipping and peeling off and someone just painted over top of it, so you know how it creates like those different groups.
Yeah.
If they see that in the photos that are taken, you fail the visual test. If there's any chipped or peeling paint in the pictures, you fail the visual test. So what he does is he lets us know, like, look, I'm here taking samples. I'm seeing these things that are going to cause you problems on the visual. We send someone out, we get it taken care of immediately so that he can finish his, because the last thing we want is to have a test go into the city, into the state, and then we fail it because of a visual, so we make sure that what we present is good so that we're not on anyone's radar, and we're not doing anything wrong with it. It's just I teamed up with a lead certification company that understands, let's do it right the first time around and then knock this property out and move on to the next. So we're not going back and back and back. So I try to educate the property owners as much as possible. And even when I'm dealing with new real estate agents that will call us, because we do referrals for real estate agents that send us clients and that. So when I'm dealing with a new agent, I do the same thing. Like, I'll ask and see what knowledge they have, and anything that they're missing out on, I will try to educate them on that. Same with wholesalers. I work with a lot of wholesalers that will send us business, or that will call and say, hey, do you have any clients looking to sell anything? So I don't care if you're licensed or not licensed. If you do good quality business and you're fair, I'm willing to work with you. It's the people that, don't try to educate and are out there just to get a commission and move on. That's not like my thing. So
I was thinking more of that with the landlords that you are servicing, because everyone doesn't know all those nuances of things. And in a way, it seems like they also need educating. Okay, because
I do.
My first rental, which was my family home, I thought I would never, ever, 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 never do a rental in my life. I just, it was the drama. It was terrible. And that's because I'd had no idea. I just knew, the house was empty. So, yeah.
So we try to educate as much as possible when we get new clients calling us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, we got some serious questions in and a lot of value. Thank you so much. Um, I got a question for you.
Yes.
When a tenant does damage and they leave,
Yes.
right? How how is it coordinated? I mean, obviously, maybe you've probably got people in place, but every property management company might not have people in place, right? So is it important to ask the property management company if someone's considering using them? Do you have a repair crew in place? Do you have people
Oh,
that can help with things of that nature?
yes. If you're interviewing management companies, you want to ask them if they utilize software. Like all of our property owners have owner portals where we store the leases. Your monthly statements get stored on there. So you don't have to worry about keeping them in your email or printing them and having a stack of them. It's all stored on there. Our tenants also have access. They have a private tenant portal. They can pay rent 24 hours a day. They can put in maintenance requests 24/7. And oddly enough, I sleep with earbuds in my ear. So if I do get an emergency phone call at night, it wakes me up and I know something's going on. So you want to ask how many contractors do they have? Do they vet their contractors? Um, what's their eviction record like? I've seen a lot of evictions get kicked out because the paperwork's not in place.
Yeah.
Things aren't done properly. And then unfortunately, it falls back on the homeowner. That's another month that they're not going to get rent because the eviction has to be started again. So you want to ask about their eviction processes. You want to ask how quickly they turn over properties. If you suddenly have a vacancy, how quickly are you able to fill that vacancy?
Mhm.
We reach out to our tenants 60 days in advance of their lease expiring to see if they're going to renew their lease or if they are planning to vacate. If we know that a tenant's vacating, we try to start filling that vacancy ahead of time. We do a pre-move out and inspection so that we know what needs to be done in the property so that we can get it ready for the next tenant and get it on the market. We'll do a market analysis to see if the rents are going up or down in that neighborhood. How many properties are for rent in that neighborhood? Because it's not always about just your property. If there's 25 other properties in the neighborhood that look pretty much like yours, the competition's really high. So you need to price your property accordingly so it doesn't sit on the market forever. So you want to ask all those questions too.
Now, how often is a property management company allowed to go in and inspect the property? Once a month, once every 6 weeks, 2 months?
It really depends on the municipality. We have 3 different service packages that we offer to our clients, so we're a little different with that too. With us, it's not 10%, take it or leave it. So we have different pricing packages. We try to get in at a minimum every 6 months. And what's nice is our contractors, let's say a tenant puts in a maintenance request that there's, a kitchen faucet dripping. When they go in, they see that it's supposed to be Mrs. Smith and her 2 kids living there. If they suddenly see men's work boots and men's clothing everywhere, or if they see kids coloring crayons on the wall, they let us know. So then it's prompting us to go in and do a formal inspection of the property. So we try to get our eyes on the property as much as possible, but there's a fine line where the housing department will say that
Yeah.
you're harassing the tenants and interfering with their quiet use of the property. So we try to do about every 3, 4 months, 6 months at a minimum, is what we try to do.
There you go.
Mhm.
Well, we've covered quite a bit today. I want to say thank you so much.
Oh,
Um,
anytime.
I've got two last questions for you, and yeah,
Okay.
obviously we'll bring you back in again in the future. First question for you is, if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way to reach you? Is it your TikTok
They
or your MySpace page or?
they can actually shoot me a text, give me a call. If they go onto our actual website, they can do a submission on there. And I'll get an email saying that, they have questions or that they have, a property they want us to manage. So if they go onto our website, they can do a submission. And then we have a couple referrals, on there too from prior clients or existing clients. I will note if you're going onto our Facebook page and like trying to send a private message, make sure you say that you want to speak to Shonda, because sometimes they will send you over to one of our agents that's filling vacancies for us, because we're a full service real estate brokerage as well. So our real estate agents will show our vacancies. So it's not like it gets posted on our website and then blasted out to 47 other websites. So we get a lot of people calling in looking for properties, and our real estate agents will jump on it and show the properties. Like I had 3 agents showing one property today.
I have one last question for you.
Okay.
I always talk about networking and building relationships and leveraging social media, where so many new investors today are coming to real estate education. They're learning how to do the Burr method or driving for dollars or cold calling or wholesaling, creative finance, so many different ways of learning real estate investment, that there are people coming every day that are brand new. Some are very experienced, but they're often, regardless of their experience level, they're coming to social media for the first time, learning how to leverage social media to build their business.
Yes.
How important is it for the investor today, whether they be brand new or experienced, to leverage social media, Facebook, Instagram, the internet, for the success of their business? How important is that?
It's huge. I truly do believe. And it's the networking that you do. It's going on, go on Google and research, if you have questions about something, go on, and check out the different areas. If you're looking to expand into new markets, look at the median income in those areas. Look at the housing law changes in those areas. See if it's an area that has a lot of turmoil and, craziness going on. That might be an area you want to avoid. So we have all this information and all these groups right at our fingertips. It's crucial that you utilize social media and groups like yours to meet people and to do the networking that will really help take your business to the next level.
Yeah, thank you.
And the fact that you don't charge, JJ, is unbelievable. Like truly.
Well,
Yeah.
it's crazy the amount of people that charge, and I think what happens when they do that is people end up chasing the deal to get their money back, and when they're chasing the deal, they're not building relationships. They're presenting themselves the wrong way. They're surrounding themselves with the wrong people. And my experience is really it's 1 in 10 people bring you value. So how do you resonate with people so that you're finding that 1 out of 10 people?
Yes. And one thing I recommend is always be your authentic self. I have OCD, I have ADD, so I'm like all over the place, and I'm sure most of you could tell that by me talking. I'm all over the place, but I let people know that, like, look, I'm always here to answer your questions. We may talk about 25 other things during that discussion, but I'm always here to answer your questions, and I'm always going to give you my honest opinion, because again, when I started this company, I wanted to be a company that I would utilize myself as a property owner.
Well, I'll tell you, I can do nothing but give you rave reviews as
Well,
far
thank
as
you.
communication, service,
Mhm.
professionalism. Yeah, I've been nothing more but than thrilled with the service of your company.
Well, thank you. I'm very happy with that.
Well, you're welcome. Hey, if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, please like Shauna's video. Please click the little like button, put in the comment section what your takeaways were, what you found informative. If there's ways that I can improve and bring you better content, maybe suggested speakers you might like to see, please put that down in the comment section. If you'd like to connect with me and join my networking group, scan this turquoise QR code right here. Takes you to my website. Click the register now button. Register for my group. If you'd like to get to my YouTube channel, see the recordings of Shonda and many other excellent guest speakers, please scan the purple QR code to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you guys are on the call right now, do not go away. We're going to do some more live networking. And Shonda, for everybody else, we'll see them out in the world of virtual networking, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey guys, thanks for watching.